Today on the table, we've got 3 motherboards, all from EVGA. They're all sporting Intel's new Enthusiast X99 chipset, so that means, along with the chipset, you get support for up to 40 PCI Express lanes with quad GPU configurations and like octa-core processors. So the main difference between motherboards from different manufacturers with X99 chipsets is the way that they implement those various connectivity options. So let's take a look at the way EVGA does it with their X99 family of boards. So the 3 boards we've got for you today are the X99 Micro, an M-ATX offering, the X99 FTW, or for the win, their standard enthusiast class board, and the X99 Classified, which is their balls-to-the-wall offering with all the bells and whistles. So we'll start first with a brief overview of what they all have in common. Out of the box, they will all support both Crossfire for those batting for Team Red, and SLI for those batting for Team Green. They're all using varying numbers of phases with digital VRM, so that's 6-phase, 8-phase, and 10-phase as you move up the lineup. And as a convenience, each board comes equipped with onboard power, reset, and clear CMOS buttons, all of which are very handy to have when you're building your new rig. They're also handy when testing components, especially with this class of motherboard. When you're on the bleeding edge, compatibility is something that you have to worry about. You might have to do a fair number of restarting and all that kind of stuff, so it's really nice to have access to those buttons. Another handy enthusiast feature is their EZ voltage read points. If you're dialing in an overclock, it's pretty nice to have a voltmeter hardwired to the board rather than relying on software readouts, especially with the way that Intel CPUs can vary the amount of voltage that they're pulling depending on the load on the board. And it can be much more reliable than reading these things through software. Now, all of these boards are going to support up to 3 GHz quad-channel DDR4, but since the micro board only has room for 4 slots because of its physical size, you'll only get support for a measly 64 gigs. On its 2 bigger brothers, though, you'll be able to cram up to 128 gigs of DDR4 in there. That is, if your wallet has support for 128 gigs of DDR4. Not to mention that the availability of the 16 gig DIMMs is, well, going to be a bit of a challenge, but that'll all change in the future. For rear I/O, you're getting actually a fairly similar setup between all of these boards. They've all got 6 USB 2.0, 4 USB 3.0 ports, and Intel Gigabit LAN. The FTW and Classified boards get an additional gigabit port, and the Classified also gets Creative Soundcore 3D, which is basically a quad-core processor dedicated to just audio. Of course, not all quad-core processors are created equal. It's not a Core i7, but you wouldn't want a Core i7 doing sound because that would be expensive. As for the internal I/O, everybody gets 1 USB 2 header, 1 USB 3 header, and these guys get 10 SATA 3 6 gig ports, while the baby gets 6 of those. One last thing that's common with all of these is the included metal I/O shroud. It's completely optional. You don't have to put it on. It screws in with your motherboard via the motherboard mounting screws to the case, and basically just makes the I/O look a little bit cleaner. Not quite as extensive or full cover as ASUS's thermal armor on their Sabertooth boards, but it's a nice little metal accent to show off your rig, and if you don't want to look at these plain metal ports from the side, then it looks a little bit nicer. All right. So let's hunker down and examine the micro a little bit more closely. What's interesting about this board, more than anything else, is that they've managed to cram all the features of an X99 board into the M-ATX form factor. That's no easy feat. I mean, even the other 2 from EVGA themselves take advantage of a slightly wider than ATX layout. Not quite eATX, but definitely wider than ATX to cram all this stuff in there. And EVGA are actually the only ones at this time who have an X99 board that's M-ATX, which makes this board kind of special. So if you need that horsepower, but you want it in a more compact case rather than a full tower, you will pretty much need the X99 Micro. They really haven't skimped on it either. There's so much tech packed in here, including a short-length M.2 socket E slot supporting PCIe 2X, USB, SDIO, UART, and PCM. All right. Okay, now moving on to the FTW board. What do you gain when moving up to the middle child? Well, as mentioned, the extra Ethernet port, extra SATA ports, extra RAM slots, and beefier 8-phase VRM, but you're also getting increased gold content, with EVGA saying they use up to 50% more gold than is standard in the CPU socket. A neat thing that'll come in handy when trying to troubleshoot your multi-GPU setups are the PCI Express disable switches, and another convenience feature is the right-angled 24-pin power connector. Very nice for cable management as long as you've got enough space to the right of your board in your case. This board also comes with dual BIOS, so you can have like an OC BIOS and a regular BIOS to switch back to when you don't want to deal with that stuff. And it also acts as an easy way to recover your board if it messes up in the middle of a BIOS flash. And finally, the classified, the granddaddy of EVGA's X99 lineup. It's funny that granddaddy means like highest performance one, because I don't know about your granddaddy, but mine doesn't run very fast. Anyway, basically with this one, you get everything from the FTW with a few extra tweaks, including dual M.2 slots, one E and one M. The M slot supports PCIe 4X and SATA, and other than that, well, you're getting triple BIOS support. Oh, and on the CPU side, I guess EVGA has dedicated 2 8-pin connectors for feeding up to 600 watts directly into your processor in case you want to cook something with it, or if you're doing liquid nitrogen overclocking or whatever else. In fact, there's a lot of sort of stuff on here that's mostly tuned for hardcore tweakers. This is the if you just want to have all the stuff, even if you don't even necessarily know what all the dials do, you just want to have them. That's what that board is. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment below and let us know what feature, what trim level you would prefer. Factoring in that, of course, the higher up you go, the more they cost. Let us know that in the comments. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to NCIX Tech Tips for more unpacked episodes just like this one.